Are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of KLAV.
The sport of radio control racing has swept the nation, and Vegas RC Raceway is proud to present the first radio show in the nation to cover this rapidly growing sensation. So, without further delay, your hosts Eric Flynn and the Big Shane bring you Radio Control Race Chat.
Hey there, I'm Eric.
And I'm the Big Shane.
And this is RC Race Chat. Before we get started here, you can call in with questions at 702-731-1230. Also, if you're getting ready to get out of the car and into your house, you can stream us live on the Vegas RC Raceway website, which is thevrcr.com. Also on iTunes, which is always exciting.
Yeah, that's been a huge hit for us lately, I guess.
Absolutely.
Over 100,000 listeners.
100,000 listeners.
That's awesome.
Moving on up, and it's only been, 12 weeks?
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Speaking of huge, in the show is our RC Insider segment, and also Adam Drake later on in the show here. So this is going to be quite the show.
Definitely a good interview with Adam Drake. I'm hoping it goes very well.
Yeah, when I've talked to him on the phone a couple times, the guy has been just wonderful.
Yeah, he goes to every single event out there, it seems like. I see him all over the place, and he does many more than I see him at. And he just travels around with his trailer behind him and just shows up everywhere. Him and his wife, Rhonda, and they're just always there. They're always there for people to ask questions to, and he's always helping somebody out, and he's a very awesome guy.
And she's quite the driver as well.
Yeah, she's good. She beats me a lot of the times. Like, I'm up there, and I get mad because I get beat by a girl, but, I mean, she's a phenomenal driver, and they've been doing it for a very long time. So I give them much respect.
Absolutely, and more to that later on in the show here. But first, here at the Vegas RC Raceway, a couple things. Holiday hours, we are going to be open on Thanksgiving from 10 in the morning till 3 p.m., and then we'll be closed for turkey dinner and whatnot. But we're going to be back Friday morning, 10 a.m., for our VRCR Black Friday sale. Lots of exciting stuff going on here. Free track time with purchases. Deals on gift cards. Spend so much, get a $10 gift card. Spend so much, get a $50 gift card. We're really looking to get people set up for Christmas. So before you go to Mervin's and buy your Long Johns, swing on by to the Vegas RC Raceway and get something you really want.
Everyone's girlfriends or wives will probably be out shopping that way, so they'll be able to run away to the track.
Yeah,
and come
absolutely.
Down and
get some goodies.
And then they'll get some wheel time in before our next round of our points series.
Round 3.
Yep.
That's right. Speaking of the Electric Masters series here, what a series it's been so far.
Crazy battles, back and forth, action nonstop. It's been great so far. Like, I'm enjoying it. This was my first week.
That's right. You missed the first one.
Yeah, I did miss the first one because of JBRL. And it seems like there was a lot. From what I heard, there was a lot more people there, and it was just off the hook with the racing. The action was just phenomenal, like
non-stop.
From sportsman to novice to everybody, expert class. I mean, it was just on fire.
It was. It really, really was. And we had guys come in from California.
Yep.
These guys, I can't recall their names right off the top of my head, but these guys came in, they called, they said, hey, can we get in mid-round? I said, absolutely, come on down. These guys came in, the place was so full, there was cars wrapped all the way around the parking lot.
Yeah.
We were full upstairs, the main pit area, all the way down the track. These guys pit on their toolboxes.
Yeah, I saw that.
With maybe 10 seconds to get on the track, they threw down their cars and
they
tore it up.
They put it down, man. That's how those Cali guys are. They have a lot of different tracks to choose from, so they kind of know what different surfaces are like. But for them to come to the Vegas RC Raceway and be able to put down good lap times right off the bat is phenomenal. Like, you have to be a pretty good caliber driver to be able to adapt to that traction that we have there.
Yeah, that quick.
It's really
Absolutely.
good, yeah.
And a little bit on the standings here, the 17.5 stock buggy, we got Gene Mason out front with 101 points there. He's in first. Rocco with Bombshell Bodies there. He has 100 points in second. Mango with Cichlids is in third with 98. Then we have Dennis LeBaron with 97 and Chris Townsend with 96. In 4x4 short course, we have Steve Anto with 202 points. That's 2 TQs and 2 wins.
Yeah.
The guy needs some competition over there. It's
coming.
Yeah, it's coming. That's
coming.
for sure. Rocco putting it hard on him, though, with 197 points. Billy T, he missed the second round, but the first round there, he's in with 98 points. Let's see who got third. Kevin Kimberly, 195 points in third. Fourth is Eric Gilbert with 194. Fifth is Tony Johnson with 191. And then so on and so forth down the list. Sportsman Modified Buggy. This has been the source of much entertainment.
Yeah, they're great battles in that class.
Yeah, just phenomenal. Max K out in front there with 202 points. 2 TQs, 2 wins.
Max has been killing it lately. He's been on fire. For someone to pick up an electric car and to do good with it right off the bat. And I mean, look at he's dominating Sportsman. I mean, he's going to have to move up to Export after this.
After the series.
Absolutely.
And in second place, we have a tie for second with 197 points between Eric Gilbert and Zach Wilcox. So Zach, he just went to Jamaica. He's probably on the plane now. He's on his way to Jamaica, so I don't know if he'll hear that, but I'm sure he's excited over it. Let's see, third, Joe White with 193 points. I know he did really well this past round. I know he TQ'd in Sportsman Short Course. I'm not quite sure about Buggy, but I know he did very well in both. In fourth place, Dennis LeBaron, 191 points. And that's also a tie with Chad Anderson with 191 points. And what do we got here? Where else is fifth? I believe Abby De La Pena in the mix. Rob Cabrera, 187 points. That is our fifth place position there. And then let's see what else we have. Expert Modified Buggy out front. Mikey Bustamante, 198 points. Tied with Steve Anthill, 198 points. So those guys duking it out. You just got into the mix there with that last one. And you got yourself 101 points with the TQ and the win.
That TQ helped me.
Big time.
After we get down with, closer to the end here and I get a couple of throwouts, maybe that will help out a lot.
Absolutely. It's going to shoot you right up the rankings.
Yeah, I need to do well this week too.
And then in that second place spot, since we have a two-way tie for first, is Ty LeBaron, one of the VRCR shop drivers. He's out there tearing it up with 195 points.
He was on it. He was right behind me this week for the TQ position, and he missed it by 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's how close it was. I mean,
the competition is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then in third is James Rashko. Talk a lot about James lately. This kid is on fire. Just recently moved up to the expert class with 194 points. There is no stopping this kid. All you guys need to watch out for old James there. And then in fifth, we have a tie again. Kevin Kimberly, another shop driver, and Mean Gene Mason, both those guys with 188 points, as well as Jonah. It's a three-way for fifth with Jonah Gallant as well. Then we move on to Expert Modified Short Course. Jonah Gallant out there, 202 points, 2 TQs, 2 wins. He's been phenomenal in short course.
His truck was untouchable last weekend. I was like, what is wrong with my truck? And right now I'm driving that Kyosho, and it seems like that Kyosho is the most dominant truck out there, and I just couldn't get it to turn. I had the summer setup on it still. It's something that I don't usually mess with at all, and now I had to actually touch it. So I drove it today at the track, and the thing should be some good competition for him this week. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Get you shooting up the ranks there.
We'll
I believe, let's see, you're at 99 points. So that was the second place here in the second round.
Yeah.
We'll get you moved up once we get a couple throwouts there. As it sits now, in second place is Kevin Kimberly, 196 points. Third, Rocco Epler with 195. Fourth is James Rashko with 194. Fifth is you, and then sixth is Mike Kaz, Losi driver there. He missed the second round in the first. I'm sure we'll see him again. And then Sportsman Modified Short Course, real quick. We have Dennis LeBaron out front with 200 points. Looking good out there. In second is Zach Wilcox, 196. Third is Connor Bailey with 195. Fourth is Joe White with 192. And fifth is Rob Cabrera with 191, rounding out the field there in Sportsman Modified Short Course. And then one of my favorite classes, and the last one that we're going to discuss here, is Novice
class.
This novice class we have at the Vegas RC Raceway is unlike anything anyone has ever seen at another track.
It's the future of RC.
It is the life force of RC racing, and this isn't your normal bumper pipes novice. These guys are
battling.
These guys are duking it out. And we've got moms, we've got dads, we've got 4-year-old kids, and they're all competitive.
Yeah.
So rounding out the field here in first is Kevin Woolman with 197, looking good out there. Tori Romero in second with 198. In third, Matt Saracola with 196. And fourth is Art Lewis with 194. And rounding out the pack in fifth is little Davian Parks there with 193. All right, so it looks like we've taken care of the round 2 standings there with the Electric Master Series. Remember to come in for the third round this Saturday. Starts at 4. You can sign up over the phone if you like to. That is 702-684-7223 for the shop. And let's move on to our RC Insider segment with Jeremy. How you doing, Jeremy?
Hey, guys, what's going on?
Jeremy,
man?
what's up, man?
How you doing, bud? Always good to talk to you.
Shane, dude, I'm so sorry. It's been almost, going on 2 weeks now, and I need to get you those photos from the JPRL. I've got them all here. I've been swamped with getting some posts caught up and stuff, and I've got you off the top of my mind. I got to get you those pictures of you and Mango and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be all right. That way we can post them up in the shop and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I want to start off with we talked to Eric today on the phone earlier today, and I was up in Nevada over the weekend. A good buddy of mine was killed in a car accident, and while I was up there to get away from all the heavy stuff with the family and everything, I went out to Traction Hobbies up there in Reno, Nevada, and their dirt is very similar to what I've seen on the pictures of your guys' track down in Vegas. And I was telling Eric on the phone, I'm like, it's interesting that Nevada has some nice facilities that are almost comparable to what's down in Southern California here. I mean, if you saw this track, Shane, you would want to race on it, dude.
I've actually been wanting to go there. I just haven't, had the time to travel 6 hours up to Reno. But I've actually that's kind of in my winter schedule for this year. I kind of want to go up there and do that. So
yeah,
we'll definitely be going up there and representing the Vegas RC Raceway.
I didn't get a chance to talk to the owner. I was there on Sunday when I was flying home, and I got there and I talked to the kid that was running the hobby shop there for like 15, 20 minutes, and I took a few pictures to post up on the website, but I looked at it, and the only thing it's lacking is they need some more pit tables, but the size is honestly, you guys could do a track, a north versus south series or something like that. I mean, it's amazing. Nevada, I want to say within the next year, you guys are going to be all over the map for good racing, I think, for indoors, because you guys have the facilities, man, to do it,
Yeah, there's actually another one that just opened up here north of us in St. George, and I can't think of
That's Champs RC Raceway.
Yeah, Champs.
Chris
Oh,
Shannon
okay.
there. He's a great guy, and they opened up. I believe it's just outside of St. George in Herkin there, and
southern Utah area.
That's right, and I hear it's wonderful. I haven't had a chance to make the voyage out there yet. I'm pretty packed with my schedule, but I'm definitely going to put it on the calendar to get out there.
Nice. Well, moving along to my next segment, I wanted to talk about the Arizona State Championships took place this last weekend at SRS Raceway out in Arizona. I don't know if you saw the website today, but I unveiled news. It's been out there for, inside the RC circles for quite some time now, but it officially kicked off over the weekend. SRS Raceway got bought out by Keone Ayat. I can't say his last name the best, but anyways, Hobbytown USA took over SRS Raceway, and basically they're going to run the track, and they put in Hobbytown, the hobby shop, inside the storefront facility there at SRS Raceway. So it's called SRS Hobbytown USA. So they didn't change the name or anything. They just added Hobbytown USA to it. And I got off the phone with those guys over in Phoenix earlier today to find out, is Keone still involved with the track? And they said he is, but he's not. And so basically Hobbytown is running it, but I'm sure Keone's input on the track, obviously is going to have input in, because they have, world-renowned Cactus Classic in there, that's been going on for 26 plus years. So, I mean, it's that facility. It's like you want to call it the Cadillac of
Electric
RC racing.
Yeah,
it's been there forever.
There's been huge races there in the past.
Yeah,
and
cool.
It's
it's
took
almost,
it over.
Yeah. So, and I think you're going to start seeing that, in the future, as a lot of these hobby shops / racetracks tend to either go under or mismanaged, and it takes a hobby shop like a Hobby People or a Hobby Town to come in, unless they're focusing all their business online. And Hobby Town, really, that you can buy online through them, but they really are into the storefront facilities if you look at it, and they always affiliate their hobby shops with racetracks, so that kind of helps out.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, big time. That's for sure. I know here in Las Vegas, the Hobbytown is great. Chuck and those guys at Hobbytown, they're always super helpful. everyone's perfect. I don't think I've been to a hobby town that's been anything other than wonderful. So I'm sure the new SRS hobby town is no different.
Absolutely. And Mayfield obviously picked up 3 more wins over the weekend in modified truck, short course, and I want to say, it was mod buggy, mod truck, and 2-wheel short course. Billy Fisher for J Concepts, Team Durango, took the 4-wheel mod class and the 4-wheel short course class. So, I mean, obviously, what can you say about the rubber out there with those guys in Arizona? And they're hitting on all cylinders out there. So it was a good weekend. I mean, there was a lot of racing. I mean, you had the Kyosho Fall Classic out here at Revelation Raceway. Surprised Shane didn't come out to that one and race with the big guys, do some 8-scale gas racing.
I had to stay away for a minute. I had to put down the nitro stuff for just a second. It's too much.
Yeah,
man.
it's true. I mean,
too much racing for me lately.
That, and I guess they had like a couple of turkey shootout races here in town. They had one over at I want to say Hemet Competition Raceway had one on Saturday, and then in Northern California they had an on-road race. And we have all those race reports up at our website right now. The North Cal Hobbies had their on-road turkey shootout. So I guess that's the tradition that everyone's giving out turkeys and pumpkin pies and cranberry sauce, the next couple of weeks.
I saw some of those pictures on your website, and they're funny.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I mean, if you think about it, the other countries don't really celebrate it that way like they do here in the U.S. So I think every time you can see someone holding a pumpkin pie or a turkey, it's kind of neat,
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of these families are going to use those birds as their Thanksgiving dinner,
Yeah,
I would,
charm
even
up.
for an extra one. Hey, I don't care. I'll just put that thing in the freezer for mid-season. I'll open that thing up mid-summer.
Roast a bird.
Hey.
What I'm going to do also starting tomorrow night with my website is I'm going to head over to the San Diego track at SDRC Raceway and preview. They have their upcoming charity race, Toys for Joy, coming up December 9th, I believe. But if you guys have been following my blog since way back when it was radiocontrolblogspot.com, I put out all the Southern California charity Christmas races that they had between Palm Desert, Robert Black's OCRC, West Coast. I mean, everybody here in Southern California has a charity race, along with Charlie Barnes has had the most long-standing charity race on paved asphalt there in Huntington Beach. He's been doing that one for I want to say 13. It's either the 13th or 14th year going on. But I'm going to do a preview with all these tracks and talk to the owners and how they get involved with it and what kind of promote the charities that they're working with and stuff. Because some of them do a battered women's shelter, some of them do Toys for Tots. And each track does something different, and I think it's kind of something cool to cover for the holidays.
Definitely. Any help out there from RC guys into those territories?
It's always nice. Yeah. Always nice to give. I know the Children's Cancer Society came into the Vegas RC Raceway about a week ago, and they put in a gumball machine with some hot tamales and some peanut M&Ms.
We've overfilled it with quarters. It won't even take anymore.
I have a feeling that with my plump self and some of the other folks that we've personally cured cancer.
There you go.
This gumball machine.
Trying to put a dent in it.
That's
anyways.
right. The knobs aren't working now. The thing doesn't work. You got to shake it, and it's only 4 or 5 days old. So it's we're definitely helping them out. And I know after the point series, a couple months after that, we're gonna have our first big race, and then after that, I definitely want to throw together a charity point series where we help out maybe Big Brothers Big Sisters or one of those other charities, the Cancer Society, that kind of stuff.
Underprivileged kids, something like that.
No, and I agree with you on that, Eric. And I'll be honest with you. I love to get my website involved in anything that does with the charity, races, because, it's one thing that I cover all the big stuff that's that the pros go to all the time. But at the end of the day, I also look at that if I can, instead of having to post that one pro race or that one, big thing, and I can skip it and do something that nobody else has, if it's a little charity race of this or that. and giving back a little bit more, because at the end of the day, that's kind of still what this hobby's all about, than just, you know, the other side of it too. And that's, I think that sometimes we forget a lot about that kind of stuff.
I think it's just good karma. If you got a little extra in your pocket or whatever, and you're going to dedicate it to RC cars, you might as well get dedicated to a charity event.
Right.
I mean, that's
yeah.
awesome.
I mean, it looks pretty bad if you think about it. Like, we spend the money that we do to race these toy cars, and then at the end of the day, you don't have $1 to donate to the kids that was dying from cancer. It's like,
you're absolutely right. Well, Jeremy, real quick here, we have about 90 seconds left with you here.
All right.
What else you got for us, bud?
Finally, I don't know if you saw on my website today, I got some pictures from Nancy Fenn, Dakota Fenn's mom of Team Losi Racing. This young man was asked by his school principal to post to put a display, a showcase up at their high school over in Michigan where he goes to school, and explain to the school, everybody, hey, where do you go when you're not in class? Because I guess he misses an enormous amount of time to go off and do his RC races. So they've got this shrine up. It's like you would think like a high school has basketball trophies, football trophies, all the
They have the RC shrine at the high school.
Right.
He's
That's pretty
got
awesome.
this shrine up of his cars.
I honestly think there should be more high schools involved, maybe with that kind of program. I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's better than video games.
Absolutely. And a quick shout out to Drew Moeller on our website. I haven't posted a story up about him, but I'm in the process of getting one together. His dad told me last week at the JBRL that he got bumped up to 100% on Team Losi and for Nitro Racing. That kid's been hitting the podiums, and he missed just qualifying by the Worlds by that much. I mean, he was right there in it. I mean, if you look at it, he podiumed with Cody King and Ryan Cavallari this last weekend at the Kyosho Fall Classic. So I mean, he's definitely moving up, on the team ranks for the gas racing. So I mean, that's pretty cool.
That is
I
awesome.
think you're going to see a lot more of these younger guys, because he's only in high school too. He told me he's about 14, 15 years old. So I think you're going to start seeing the next couple of years, there's going to be some younger kids moving in, giving these guys a run for their money.
I think you're absolutely right. And in closing here, Jeremy, why don't you let everyone know your web address there?
It is www.rcinsider.com. And it's Jeremy at rcinsider.com if anybody has any questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy. And
Right
we'll
on,
definitely
Jeremy.
talk to you next week, bud. And
Absolutely.
before we take our interview here with Adam Drake, I just want to let everyone know, if you want to call and ask Adam a question, you can do so. It's 702-731-1230. Also, if you're leaving your car heading into your house, you can stream us live on the Vegas RC Raceway website, thevrcr.com. And on the phone now, Adam Drake. How you doing, bud?
How's it going?
Adam Drake, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Awesome.
Pretty good. What you doing tonight?
Actually, just kind of cleaning up some stuff in my garage, wrenching a little bit, and that's about it.
Well, that's awesome. It's nice to see that everyone has to do that. I know my garage is full of RC stuff, and
I don't think Adam ever stops. I just think he's a machine that never puts down the RC equipment ever. He's always
Not
going.
very
He's
often.
at every race. He constantly is working on stuff, and I never see him quit.
yeah, he's definitely dedicated. That's for sure. And just kind of getting in, some of our listeners aren't super familiar with RC, and I want you to let everyone know a little bit about yourself for those people that might not be familiar with you.
I'm 32 years old. I live in Fontana, California. Originally, I was born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which I lived there till I was 9. And then I moved to South Carolina and lived there for another 9 years. And then after I graduated high school, I moved back to Michigan to go to college, and then to work for my father in kind of our family business. And was back there for 3 years or so, and then I moved out to California the end of 2000 to work for Horizon Hobby. I'm just still out here doing the same thing.
Now, when you were back on the East Coast there, were you heavily into RC?
Yeah, I started racing when I was 13 or 14 years old in South Carolina. I had some other RC cars when I lived in Michigan, just as a kid kind of playing around and stuff like that. My brother and I raced motocross when we were young, and had RC cars that we just kind of played around with. And once I moved to South Carolina, I pretty much stopped racing motorcycles and just kind of got more heavily involved with the RC. And I actually got sponsored by Losi in the end of 1994, so I've actually been racing for them for 17 years and been employed or working for Horizon Hobby for 11.
Wow, that's pretty extensive there. That's impressive to hear. Now, what exactly is your official title with Losi?
Team Development and Strategies Manager. Essentially, I take care of our race team budget and promotional events as far as like sponsoring, different events, and just kind of where the money's spent for our race team. We're a global brand and have a team that races all over the world and just kind of keeps track of the finances and expenses for our race team.
Wow, that's a pretty extensive job title there. That's quite impressive. And Shane, what you got for him?
Yeah, with obligations towards your sponsors, how has your racing changed?
For me, like a big part of my racing or my job, there's a lot of testing and development involved. Aside from the actual just racing, I'm very involved with pretty much any of the nitro platforms from Losi or TLR, and also heavily involved with Novarossi with engine development. So it's more than just, going to the track and racing and trying to get the results. It's also trying to improve the product and make them the best that they can be.
And do you still have the same goals and expectations of yourself as when you were a privateer, or have they changed a little bit over the years?
I still have the same goals as far as like on the racing side, trying to win races, but I guess some goals are the same and some are different because on the other hand, some of the goals that I set for myself or with certain projects that we're working on are to not only make it the fastest vehicle, but, the easiest to work on, or just to overall give the end user the best overall experience, for the product.
Now, is that sometimes hard to do? Because I know even a person that's a casual RC enthusiast, they still want something that's going to be fast or fun, that kind of stuff. But it might not, the fastest thing might not be the easiest thing for them to work on. I mean, how do you guys deal with that?
A lot of people want simple, you know what I mean? Like they want it to be fast, they want it to do a lot of things, but then they don't know exactly how, to set camber and how to do your ride height and what shock oil to run. If everything could just be totally simple for a lot of people starting off, it would be awesome for the whole community, I think. But
how is it?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Kind of just, it's just a balancing act. I mean, you have to just kind of weigh the pros and cons, and we try to not compromise with anything we do and try to get the most speed out of our cars. But on the other hand, you also have to make sure that it's durable and that there's, a number of different skill levels of drivers that are going to be using the vehicle, or engine or regardless of what the product is. So it's a bit of a balancing act. You have to try to consider who all the users are of the products.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I guess you don't want to get them in over the head, but meanwhile, you don't want to make it too mild for them either.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next question here, we have a caller, Rob. You're on the air. What's going on, Rob?
Not much. How you guys doing tonight?
Very well, thanks. What's your question?
This is Rob from Thunder Rally this time, right?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay.
We just have a sound guy that puts up a single name. It's not like Rob Jackson from Thunder Alley. That's not on our soundboard. It just says Rob, so we don't know exactly who's calling
not until we
in
get
at
you
what
on the
time.
phone, but we
Yeah,
certainly know now.
we know now, so go ahead.
You guys got a faithful listener here. I enjoy your show a lot, and you've got one of my favorite guys on the show tonight. Just props to him. I'm fortunate enough to have a track that TLR is at a lot testing, and with their teams and all the effort that goes into their whole team effort. And I can literally say that I don't think anybody else puts the amount of time and effort into their teams that Losi does. And unfortunately, they don't have a world title yet, but I got a feeling that it's going to be here very shortly.
I feel that Adam Drake is like one of the top guys. Like I watch a lot of people. I'm a people watcher. But when I see Adam, I see him everywhere. And I always see him doing the best he can at every single event. And for him to represent his company in that manner, I think he's the hardest, most dedicated working guy in the sport right now. I don't know anybody else that puts in I'm sure there's a million other people that put in a good effort, but I think Adam Drake is constantly putting in 150%.
I appreciate the kind words from all you guys. It's I feel very fortunate to do what I do. I totally enjoy and love the hobby, and it's turned into a job for me or career. And I'm just doing what I love and trying to give back to an industry and a company that's done a lot for me.
Well, that's definitely a good outlook to have on it. I know some people lose sight of their goals and whatnot, and it seems like you're very grounded with that kind of stuff.
Still focused on racing.
Absolutely.
Still going forward.
And
so, Rob, do you have any other questions for Adam? Now's your chance. You might as well ask away.
I do have a question for him. With the the surge of short course taken over the last couple of years and just blowing up the industry the way it has, and all the manufacturers pretty much all being represented nowadays, nitro's taking a hit. And, as a track owner, I've seen that, and I talked to other people in the industry and fuel sales and all the way around the whole gamut. What do you think, Adam's going to happen in 12, or what can us as the consumer or track owners do to see if we can spark, get some more input or some more participation on the nitro side?
For one, the short course has been a boom everywhere, and it's it has caused a bit of a hit to nitro, but it's really exciting because of the amount of doors that it's opened on the electric side, and also just bringing back even some of the classes that have been around in electric for so long but kind of dwindled or slowed down. For me, what I would like to see for some of the nitro classes is, maybe it's possibly a nitro four-wheel drive short course. Obviously the consumers are so into short course with the full body. It makes the vehicles more durable. When they flip over, 9 times out of 10 they end up back on their wheels. So I think that would be something that would kind of be a cool, neat product. It's just going to, in order for it to take off, I think you have to have a number of manufacturers that kind of get together and set some rules, and potentially maybe something like that would kind of be the new truggy class, because truggies are a lot of fun and they're cool to drive. You can go through so many different things, but the tires are expensive, and it makes it difficult for a guy to kind of run on a regular basis.
Adam, do you think that these engine companies, these engine manufacturers like Nova Rossi, RB, OS, do you think that they're going to change anything about their nitro motors to maybe make them run longer, or some kind of new technology, maybe even a hybrid, like half electric, half nitro? Who knows? This is the new frontier of RC cars now, with electrics being so popular and lipos taking off, and the run times that some of these electric guys are getting. Maybe they can kind of go both ways into a nitro car. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it kind of just depends on the type of person. Some guys, they love the electric because it's just quiet and peaceful, and they don't have someone revving an engine in their ear. But then there's other people who, they love the smell of nitro and the noise and the excitement. I do know, the only company that I can really speak for as far as engine manufacturers would be Nova Rossi, and I know that's something that they're very committed to is, fuel consumption and trying to get the most runtime out of your engine. It's something that a lot of people don't necessarily consider when they go to buying a nitro engine, where there's a number of good engines on the market, and it's a very, very big investment. But when you think of the amount of fuel you're going to be able to run through the engine, you'll end up spending more on fuel than you will on what the engine actually costs if you care for it properly. And one of the things that, in my eyes, is actually a very big selling point is fuel consumption. I mean, if you're able to get an extra 3 or 4 minutes on a tank of fuel, you're saving considerably over the life of the engine on the amount of money you're having to invest into your fuel. So it's something that, again, I know Nova Rossi is always working on. I mean, I don't think for nitro the big thing right now is engine costs that's slowing it down. I just think that electric has gotten so easy and user friendly with brushless and lipo.
It's just simple for people.
Yeah, I mean, it's little or no maintenance at all. I mean, I actually went to the electric track yesterday and ran all day. It was my first time running two-wheel drive buggy in probably 5 or 6 years, and I mean, I just ran and never had to, put a battery in a tray or cut the comm on my motor, and it was easy as far as maintenance goes. But on the other side of that, I'm just itching to get out and run my nitro car because of the noise and smell and everything else. So it's really cool to see the surge in electric, but I don't think nitro is going anywhere. I think it's maybe slowed down a little bit just because the people have kind of shifted to electric, but I think nitro will still be very strong in the years to come.
I'll run nitro until I die unless they change unless they can make my electric car sound like a nitro. I love running nitro. I love racing nitro. That's my biggest thing. I love hearing that
the
motor
pit
scream.
stops, the strategy,
Yeah.
the long race, what tire are you going to run for the main versus what you're going to run in qualifying. I mean, for some people, that's not their thing, but for others, it's more like full scale or real racing. So
yeah, and then I know when you're putting down a good lap, Adam, you're by yourself on the track, you can just hear that thing, and the way that it makes a noise when you put down and it's going to be a good lap. The thing is just screaming off the top of the chart, and it just sounds right. So you're like, okay, this is going to be a hot lap. I know I'm on a good one.
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Rob, did you have any other questions for Adam?
I do, and this one I'm going to ask him not to be politically correct.
That's tough.
2012, who do you think, as of right now, I mean, I see Mayfield on top of his game by far. The AE guys got their car working really well. Who do you think is going to be on top of the game besides yourself, obviously? You're always there. But who do you think in the HKL Nitro Pro class is going to be really on top of the game this year? Or 12, I should say.
I mean, I think that for sure you'll have the normal 5 or 6 guys that are always up there. I mean, Mayfield, Cavallari, Tebow, Cody King, Hara, Mike Chury, myself. I mean, it's such a stacked field. I mean, and if you're talking of just 2012 in general, I think, it's kind of a race by race type of deal. I mean, you'll see any one of the top 6 or 8 guys just really shine at a particular track or on that particular layout, and just it's their weekend. I mean, if you're talking more towards like 2012 Worlds, I think it's too early to say because it's over a year away. A lot of things could change with what vehicle or engines or tires, some of those top guys are running, and it's time will tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Props to Drew Moeller. Your new ride. I've seen it happen. Through the years. Castellano did it. Levi did it. All the youngsters, Rodriguez and Jesse Robinson. All the young guys right now are really coming up and really showing their stuff. Chassis manufacturers, possibly going to change a little bit this year for 12, possibly for some of these guys. But Drew, I think, right now is really come to terms with his driving, even though he's still got that damn scooter.
Yeah, he kind of flies under the radar a little bit. He's still a young kid, and at the races, just having a good time. And I think that's part of what has helped him have a successful year. Is he's not getting caught up in being too serious at the races. You know, he's just really enjoying himself and going out and wheeling his car around. And it's always good and cool to see someone who not only is such a good kid, but to then see him perform on the track and have fun doing it.
For sure. Guys, thank you for having me on again. Adam, good luck next year. And you guys are doing an awesome job with this radio show.
Thanks, Rob. We really appreciate it,
Right
bud.
on,
Thank
Rob.
you for calling
Thanks
in.
for
You have
calling.
have a good evening. And again, before we get back on with Adam here, if you'd like to call in and ask a question, you can do so at 702-731-1230. You can also stream us live from the Vegas RC Raceway website, thevrcr.com. And Adam, moving on here, how does the role of team manager keep you from, does it keep you from focusing on yourself during these large events? And what do you do to ensure that you have the time needed to do both, drive and be the team manager?
Well, actually, Kevin Gann's the actual team manager for Low C and TLR. We do work very closely together and have a lot of similar responsibilities. But, I mean, at the races, it's, he's pretty much the go-to guy that we rely on for the managing the team, essentially. But, I mean, my role, or with my role, a lot of guys still look to me or come to me as
a lot of people look up to you and want to go to you first. Probably is what that's what usually happens, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, there are times when it gets to be a little overwhelming just because we have a fairly large team. But on the other hand, it's really rewarding for me. And I mean, as a competitor, you want to win every race that you can, but for me, I get so much joy and excitement out of just seeing our team have success, and that's just as important as if I'm winning or having success. So I like the role in a sense because it's kind of the position that I've put myself in. But there are times when maybe my stuff's not working right, or I've had some problems where it can be difficult at times because then you have everyone else coming to you that also needs help or is having problems. But overall, I like the position, but it can be difficult at times.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it would be, especially when things aren't, like you said, things aren't working right and you want to get out there, but there's something that needs addressing. You really got to step back and see what needs to be done. That
fits right into this question I'm about to ask you, Adam. How much of your week is spent in testing of equipment, and how long do you test an item before it goes to market?
I mean, it really depends on what the level of the product is. And I mean, my schedule changes quite a bit just depending on the amount of races or hobby shows or things that are going on, and also what products we're working on at that time. But, like just to use one of our recent projects that we're actually just now getting ready to release, the 5T. Basically, that project started 3 years ago, and it's been a really big project for us, and so it required a lot of time. Other things like if it's a new tire design or something like that where we're cutting and trying to put different tires together to come up with something different, that'll be a fairly quick process. So it kind of depends on the size and level of the product, but and that will also kind of dictate or determine what my schedule is for the week, and how much time is going to be spent at the track versus how much is going to be in the office.
Now, some of these items that you're testing and getting ready, however long it takes you to test, and you get that item just right, from the time that you get it just right and you say, okay, we're ready to rock, what's the time period from you having it and using it to someone like myself having it and using it in a club race? Is there a big period of time, or is it fairly quick?
Usually it's fairly quick. I mean, we do quite a bit of the prototyping, the majority of our stuff in-house. Some stuff we do direct with the vendor that's going to manufacture it, but we also do a lot of it in-house. So, but when we do that, when we do the prototyping and test the product, a lot of times we do just a small run. If it's something that we're going to move forward with, we approve it. But we try not to really use or race with that product until it's ready for production. And generally, unless there's a major race that kind of forces us to pull the trigger a little early or to try to get the product. Like, for example, with the radio tray, we used the new radio tray at the Nationals at Thunder Alley this year, and that product's set to ship in, I believe, 2 weeks. So for that item, there was a fairly long time between the time that the team actually started using it until when the public's going to get to use it, but that was because it was something we felt was needed and was going to help with the performance for the Nationals. But usually with normal product, we may test it, approve it, and then we don't actually use it until the time when it is actually released to the consumers.
Right. Well, now this question kind of goes with what we talked about a little bit earlier. But when testing these items, do you try to look at it from both sides of the hobby, from kind of I know it might be hard for you being the racer that you are, but from like a basher standpoint and a driver, how do you ensure that the item will suit a wide enough demographic to be successful?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You have to consider, again, just anyone who you think is going to be the end user. And we also have a number of guys who, we reach out to who are kind of, don't necessarily work in-house, but are kind of part of our development team or will kind of help us pass the durability or Snicker test, depending on what the product is. So we definitely try to consider, hey, I like the way this shock tower with these camera links work, but is it going to still be easy to drive and user-friendly? We may reach out to or lean on one of our close friends or team members who drives totally different or is at a different skill level and let them try the product and just kind of watch, and then also you have them provide us with feedback on what their thoughts are.
Awesome. Very cool. Shane.
Adam, are there special tracks that you like to go to for testing and practice, or do you try to spread yourself out over several facilities? Do you have a favorite track on your list, or?
The track where we try to do the majority of our testing and development is Thunder Alley in Beaumont. We do run at a number of different tracks when we do testing. Also at Revelation Raceway, it's really close for us.
Yeah, I know you spend a lot of time down there.
It's all the tracks are different and unique, but Thunder Alley is probably one of the most challenging tracks, but yet also the funnest tracks for us to run on. But the way that their dirt is and all the elevation changes, it'll really kind of let you know if what you're working towards or what you're working on is working good, because that track it's a difficult track to drive, mainly because of the amount of grip it has, but it's also really fun. It's one of those tracks that you go up, and especially if you're out there on a day by yourself, like, it can get frustrating because you're making mistakes or crashing, but yet at the end of the day, when you're done, it's like, man, it was a blast. It was so much fun. They put a lot of time into the layouts, and they're really technical, but it also is really, really good for testing, because if you're testing trying to get a setup to have more steering or less steering or whatever the case may be, that track will really show you when you make a change to your car if you're going the right direction, where Revelation's a little bit, or it's actually quite a bit lower grip, and I would say more of a neutral or numb track, to where when you make changes, you're not able to
notice
really
them off the
feel,
bat.
Yeah, notice them as much. So Thunder Alley will really show you when you make a change, what direction or what that did to your car. So that's where we try to do a lot of our testing. Yeah,
and they always seem to have, the biggest jumps out there, the newest style of like a tabletop or like a sideways double or something. Levi always puts together some crazy stuff, and I really like his layouts a lot.
Yeah, they're a good time.
Awesome. And moving on here. So what are your goals for this coming race season? If there is one thing you could change from this year, what would it be?
I think well, I don't know that I necessarily would even change, but the one thing that kind of, I guess I would change, or I'd go back and think, is we did a lot of testing and put a lot of work into the Roar Nationals this year, and we made some changes to our setup, and in testing, it was really, really good, really happy going into the race. And again, I don't think that unless we knew what we did now, we wouldn't have really changed anything, because we felt we had a really, really good package going into that race. And I don't really know what it was, if it was the way that the layout was or that the track was a little more high speed than normal, but it kind of caught us off guard and kind of shuffled us back a little bit. In the end, it ended up decent for us. Dakota ended up third and I was fifth, so we had 2 cars in the top 5. But a little disappointing after we had spent so much time running there and having so much confidence going into that race.
Yeah, I know that was a pretty awesome event for you guys, and then I know that this last JBRL round has been a pretty awesome event for you too, with both wins with the Truggy and the Buggy. And then when I showed up there on Thursday or I think it was Friday or something like that. I'm lost now with days that I attend these races, but I went there and I saw Adam on the track, and he was instantly on pace because he's been there for the past 2 weeks. I don't know how much time you spent there, Adam, but I showed up and you were already like on 17.5s, every lap, 17.5, 17.5, 17.4, just constantly putting them down. And I was just trying to get into like the 18s. And I was like, man, I just phenomenal. Like I saw the photos of you all bundled up and stuff on the internet, and I was like, oh, it's cold and rainy and just the elements out there. And then you were already on pace because you had the time on the track before that. But awesome job with the expert Truggy win and Buggy win. And I know it was a drawn out battle there for a minute between you and Cody King, and it turned out all in your favor. I mean, you dedicated to it, so definitely.
Yeah, it was a good series. I mean, Cody and I have had a lot of good races over the years, and I mean, this series was really no different. It was pretty amazing that after 7 rounds, we went into the final race essentially tied for points. My throwouts were a little better, but of the races that counted, we were tied. So it came down to who beat who in the heads up race, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, my stuff worked really good. The weather threw us for a bit of a loop. The intentions were to run the race dry and blue groove, and that's how it was on Friday. But for me, it worked out. I mean, I went up there and tested and practiced the Tuesday before, just their normal Tuesday night club racing, and it was cold and wet, and the conditions weren't great, but the track was a lot of fun, and it actually helped me quite a bit for the finals, because we had rain and the finals were at night and very similar conditions. So I knew which direction to kind of go with my car and tires and stuff like that, and it played out and worked in my favor.
Well, that's definitely awesome to hear, and that's almost going to bring us to the end of the show here. Why don't you take a second to thank your sponsors, if you like, or anything else you'd like to plug or say thank you to?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to thank you guys for having me on the show. It's an honor, and I enjoyed myself, and obviously all the companies that helped me out and have helped me get to where I am. Team Lipsy Racing, Nova Rossi, Nitrotane, Spectrum, Horizon Hobby, Upgrade, Lungsford, TKO, Competition Heat, TempGun.com, Short Course Hobbies, and Yellow Clothing.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming in on the show. That was our Adam Drake interview. Awesome time there.
Yeah, thank you very much for calling in, Adam. We enjoyed having you, and I know there was a couple weeks prior we wanted to get you on, and we finally had you on here, and we would love for you to give us some updates and future stuff that's happening, maybe some new stuff, products that are out on the market. So it was awesome talking to you. Thank you very much for calling in.
Awesome, and tune in next week to RC Race Chat. We got a great show for you. Thanks.
Weather is brought to you by Jared, the guy.
Hi, I'm Duke Liberatore.
And I'm Dr. Jan McBarron.
We are a husband and wife team.
And together we host the #1 health talk show in the nation,
Duke and the Doctor.
You can hear our show weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. here on KLAV 1230 a.m.
We'll discuss up-to-date health news, give away gifts, share a laugh or two, and answer health questions from our callers.
Feel happy, healthy, and terrific when you tune in to Duke and the Doctor.
Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 a.m. on KLAV 1230 a.m., the talk of Las Vegas.
My name is Jeffrey Burke, and I'm the host of the Staying Healthy Show here on KLAV. The Staying Healthy Show is now on KLAV 10 times per week. 10 times for you to hear the best guest in the industry and learn about the best nutritional products available for your good health. You can hear my show weekday mornings at 8 and a new show again at 5. Both shows are drive time for your listening pleasure. The show is sponsored by Stay Healthy Health Food Store, located at 840 South Rancho Drive in the Rancho Town and Country Center on the northwest corner of Charleston and Rancho. The hours of the store are Monday through Friday from 9 to 7 p.m., Saturdays 9 to 6, and closed on Sundays. Wayne Rudolph built his store with 3 principles in mind: great products and selection, a knowledgeable staff, and memorable service every time you visit his store. Please tune into the Staying Healthy Show 10 times per week here on KLAV. I'm looking forward to chatting with all of you and helping you get healthy, be healthy, and stay healthy.
Hi, my name is Gary Bridges, and I am the Home Pro Inspector. Join me every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Each week I'm going to take you on an inspection of a home we have here in the Las Vegas area. We will discuss the inspection points we observe and the common safety and hazardous defects we find. I'll explain everything you need to know about what is behind the walls, up in the attic, in your yard, and the systems that operate your home. So join me on the Home Pro Inspector every Wednesday at 1 p.m. and have a safe and happy home.
Hi, this is Tiffany Rose Thomas. Join me and custom tattoo artist and local celebrity Jerry Thomas, owners of Lucky Cat Tattoo in Las Vegas. Every Friday night at 8 p.m., we will be bringing to you a fun show inspired by the excitement of the body art industry, custom tattoos, special guests, and more. Join Lucky Cat Tattoos Inc. session, hosted by myself, Tiffany Rose Thomas, and custom tattoo artist Jerry Thomas, every Friday night at 8 p.m. on KLAV.
Hi, this is Dr. Annette. Join me every Sunday evening at 6:30 for The Shift, right here on KLAV, where we talk about health and the crazy things happening to your health freedoms. Remember, The Shift airs every Sunday evening at 6:30. For more information, archive shows, and links, visit drannette.com. Spell it all out, DOCTORANNETTE.com.
My name is Brady Cameron, and I want to welcome you to join me every Monday night at 8 p.m. for my brand new show, Creoltology Personal Development. This show is all about the different aspects of personal development and life transformation. Call in and get advice on how to achieve your personal and business goals while I cover a wide range of topics on how to achieve your desired success. This show really is all about helping you in your life and business. So join me Monday nights at 8. Remember, nothing in your life changes until you make it.
Hi, I'm Larry Monkarsh. Join me every Tuesday at 11 a.m. for our show, Building LV with LM Construction. On our show, we'll discuss the behind-the-scenes nuances of the commercial and residential construction industries. We'll talk about the ins and outs of the design and contracting business and the logistics involved with doing projects in Las Vegas, with guest industry specialists to discuss their experience and answer all of your questions. Learn how construction companies in Vegas are surviving this economic crunch each and every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Building LV with LM Construction.
This is Robert Wagner of Wagner & Associates Tax Solutions. Join me every Tuesday at 3 p.m. for my show, What's Taxing You, on KLAV. Are you going through an audit? Haven't filed your taxes in a number of years? Or do you just owe the IRS money and want to settle? I'm Robert Wagner. Listen to my radio show, What's Taxing You, every Tuesday at 3 p.m. on KLAV. Remember, we speak tax so you don't have to.
I'm Rashida Ali Walsh, author and daughter of Muhammad Ali. My dad knows that people affected by Parkinson's disease can have meaningful and productive lives. Guidelines from the American Academy of Neurology help neurologists make early, accurate diagnoses and optimize proven and effective therapies, track how quickly the disease may progress, and tailor treatment accordingly. Believe me, early diagnosis.
Love us on radio, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. We are KLAV 1230 AM.
You're listening to KLAV Las Vegas.